The Council of Stars, the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, stretched beyond comprehension. Its walls were not walls but windows into distant nebulae, its floor a transparent platform suspended above a living hologram of the galaxy itself. Here, in this cathedral of cosmic power, the eldest civilizations of known space gathered to debate the fate of worlds. Ambassador Lian Chen walked the long approach to the central dais with measured steps. Her dark suit was simple, almost austere compared to the flowing energy fields and crystalline exoskeletons of the beings watching her. Behind her, Earth's delegation of 3 moved in perfect synchronization, their faces calm, their hands empty of weapons or gifts. The Quarathian High Speaker, a being whose form shifted like liquid mercury contained in invisible boundaries, raised what might have been a limb. The chamber fell silent, save for the distant hum of translation matrices embedded in the very air. Humanity petitions for full council membership, the High Speaker intoned, their voice resonating through every molecular frequency. Ambassador Chen, you stand before civilizations that have sailed the stars for 100,000 of your years. Present your case. Lian stepped forward, her voice steady and clear. Honored members of the council, Earth comes before you not as supplicants but as equals. We have proven our technological capability, our diplomatic integrity, and our commitment to peaceful coexistence. We ask only for the recognition that is our right. A sound rippled through the chamber, not quite laughter, but its galactic equivalent. The Vrexian Chancellor, insectoid and ancient, clicked their mandibles in a pattern that translated as condescension. Equals? The word dripped with disbelief. Child species you achieved faster than light travel merely 2 generations ago. We have megastructures that predate your oldest civilizations. Our cities orbit stars you have not yet named. The Hytherian ambassador, whose crystalline form pulsed with inner light, added their voice. You have no ring worlds, no stellar collectors, no fleet that could defend a single system against a determined assault. What achievement could possibly qualify you for a seat among the architects of galactic order? Lian let the silence stretch for 3 heartbeats. Then she smiled, a small, knowing expression that made several delegates shift uncomfortably. I was hoping you would ask that question. She touched the interface on her wrist, and a holographic document materialized above the central dais. Its text glowed in the ancient trade tongue, the language of law that predated every current empire. I invoke the right of proof, Lian declared. By the Accords of Krell, unchanged for 50 millennia, any petitioning species may demonstrate their greatest achievement to the Council. If deemed worthy, membership must be granted. The Council has 72 hours to witness our proof. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted in a dozen languages, their translation matrices struggling to keep pace with the chaos. The right of proof had not been invoked in living memory. It was considered archaic, a relic of a more primitive time when the galaxy was still being mapped. The High Speaker raised both limbs and order slowly returned. The right of proof is valid. But understand this, Ambassador Chen. This ancient law exists precisely to spare emerging species the embarrassment of rejection. It gives you a chance to withdraw gracefully. Are you certain you wish to proceed? More laughter echoed through the chamber. The Vrexian Chancellor leaned forward, their compound eyes glittering with amusement. Oh, let them proceed, they clicked. Let humanity show us their greatest achievement. Perhaps they will bring their tallest building or their fastest ship. It will be educational for them. Lian's smile never wavered. We will need observers, unbiased witnesses to verify what we present. Of course, the High Speaker agreed, clearly indulging what they believe to be a doomed species. A delegation will be assembled. 23 species, all neutral parties. They will accompany you to the coordinates you provide. Lian transmitted a string of spatial coordinates. Several delegates checked their systems and exchanged puzzled glances. This is empty space, the Hytherian ambassador noted. Sector 4E47 Gamma. Nothing exists there but asteroids and cosmic dust. Not even a registered colony. 72 hours, Lian repeated. Bring your best sensors, your most advanced scanning equipment. Bring your skepticism and your laughter. We will be waiting. She turned and walked back down the long approach, her delegation falling into step behind her. As they departed, the chamber filled with the sound of alien mirth. Some delegates were already composing reports for their homeworlds, eager to share the story of humanity's impending humiliation. But a few, a very few, noticed something the others missed. Ambassador Chen had walked into the council chamber as a petitioner, but she had walked out as something else entirely. She had walked out as someone with a secret. The empty sector 72 hours later, the observation fleet assembled at the coordinates humanity had provided. It was an impressive armada, not of warships but of science vessels, survey craft, and diplomatic cruisers. 23 species had sent their best, determined to witness and record whatever spectacle humanity had prepared. The Vrexian scanning vessel, Infinite Inquiry, took point. Its sensor arrays were legendary throughout the galaxy, capable of detecting a single atom's decay from a light year away. If humanity had hidden something here, the Vrexians would find it. Initial scans complete, the Vrexian science officer reported, their mandibles clicking with barely concealed amusement. Sector 447 Gamma contains exactly what our charts predicted. Debris field, standard asteroid density, background radiation within normal parameters. There are no structures, no power signatures, no signs of habitation or technology. The Hytherian observer vessel, Prism of Truth, confirmed the readings. Our crystalline matrix detects no anomalies in local space-time. If humanity has constructed something here, it exists in a dimension beyond our capacity to measure. The delegation channel crackled with comments in multiple languages, most tinged with mockery. Earth had 3 hours remaining to present their greatest achievement, and the sector remained empty. Then Ambassador Chen's voice filled every comm system simultaneously. Thank you for your patience, honored observers. What you are about to witness has been 50 Earth years in the making. It represents not just our engineering capability, but our philosophy, our understanding that true power lies not in what others can see, but in what they fail to notice. On the observation deck of the Infinite Inquiry, the Vrexian Chancellor chittered with impatience. Enough poetry, Ambassador. The clock is... They stopped. Space was changing. It began at the edge of the debris field, where the largest asteroids drifted in their ancient orbits. One of them, a massive iron-nickel body 3 kilometers across, shimmered. Not like a hologram flickering, but like reality remembering something it had forgotten. The asteroid's surface rippled, and then peeled away like a shed skin. Beneath the rocky exterior lay not stone but steel, curved, gleaming, covered in lights that had been dark for half a century. Impossible, the Hytherian delegate whispered, their crystalline form pulsing with shock. That's not an asteroid. It's a section of hull plating. Then another asteroid revealed itself, and another across the debris field. Hundreds of asteroids shed their disguises. Kilometer-long sections of what could only be a superstructure emerged from camouflage so perfect that it had fooled every scanning system in the galaxy. Ice-covered surfaces that had appeared to be cometary fragments split open to reveal docking bays large enough to berth capital ships. What had seemed like cosmic dust clouds began to glow with the light of millions of windows. The observation fleet's sensors went mad, their displays flooding with data they couldn't process fast enough. Energy signatures appeared from nowhere, not because they were just activating, but because they had always been there, hidden behind technology that made them invisible to every known form of detection. Full-spectrum stealth, the Vrexian science officer breathed, their voice stripped of all mockery. They've been running full-spectrum stealth for... How long? 50 years, Chen answered calmly. Since the day we made first contact with the galaxy. Since the day we realized that being underestimated was our greatest advantage, the structure continued to reveal itself. Sections connected, forming rings and spires and gardens of incredible complexity. At its heart, a sphere of impossible size rotated slowly, its surface a tapestry of cities and forests, oceans and mountains, all contained within transparent walls that had been invisible moments before. The Hytherian delegate's voice shook. The energy requirements alone, to power active camouflage on this scale for 50 years, it would require the total output of a mid-sized star. 3 mid-sized stars, actually, Chen corrected, which is why we built our own. Compact fusion plants, each one a miniaturized sun distributed throughout the city's infrastructure. We learned much from your published research, Hytherian Collective. Thank you for being so generous with your data. The full scope of humanity's achievement became clear as the last camouflage layers dissolved. New Horizon was not just a space station. It was a self-contained civilization suspended in the void. Its outer rim alone was larger than Earth's moon, rotating to provide gravity. Its interior levels descended into depths that sensors could not fully penetrate, suggesting complexity beyond what any single viewer could comprehend. Agricultural rings spun in perfect synchronization, their artificial sunlight creating a golden glow that could be seen across the sector. Manufacturing districts hummed with quiet power, their output capacity exceeding that of most planetary economies. Residential zones housed not thousands but millions, their architecture blending a dozen human cultures into something entirely new, and everywhere, gardens. Parks that would take hours to walk through, forests contained in transparent domes, waterfalls that fell in slow-motion spirals under carefully controlled gravity. Humanity had not just built a city in space, they had brought life itself to the void, but how? The Vrexian Chancellor's voice had lost all its earlier arrogance. How did you hide this? Our probes passed through this sector a dozen times. We would have detected construction on this scale. You did detect it, Chen replied. You documented every asteroid in this field, cataloged every fragment of ice. Your data was impeccable. You just never imagined that the asteroids themselves were the building materials, that the ice was our water supply, that the cosmic dust was our mining waste, carefully redistributed to maintain the illusion of an empty sector. She paused, letting the magnitude of the deception sink in. We built New Horizon in plain sight, one piece at a time, disguised as the natural debris you expected to find here. We powered it with energy signatures masked as background radiation. We populated it with 3 million people, whose presence never registered on any sensor because we learned to make our life signs invisible to your detection methods, and we waited. The New Horizon, the silence that followed Ambassador Chen's words was absolute. Across 23 observation vessels, delegates from civilizations that had ruled the stars for millennia sat speechless, their sensors continuing to reveal details that defied everything they thought they knew about the young species from Earth. The Quarathian High Speaker was the first to break the silence, their mercurial form rippling with an emotion that translated loosely as awe. Ambassador Chen, the Council formally requests permission to conduct a closer inspection of New Horizon, Lian smiled. Permission granted. Please, honored delegates, be our guests. We have prepared docking facilities for all your vessels, and if you're willing, we would be honored to host you for a tour. The delegation ships moved forward cautiously, approaching the massive structure like priests approaching a temple. The Infinite Inquiry docked at a port that could have accommodated a vessel 10 times its size, its crew emerging into a receiving bay that gleamed with a level of finish that spoke to decades of careful craftsmanship. A human reception committee waited, not military personnel in dress uniforms, but ordinary citizens of New Horizon. Engineers in work coveralls, teachers with data pads, farmers with soil still under their fingernails. They greeted the alien delegates with warm smiles and genuine hospitality, as if hosting representatives of ancient galactic empires was the most natural thing in the world. The tour that followed would become legend in every corner of known space. They walked through residential districts where human families lived in, apartments that blended efficiency with beauty, where children played in parks under artificial skies so perfect that visitors forgot they were inside a structure. They visited schools where the next generation learned not just mathematics and science, but art and philosophy and the patient cultivation of growing things. The Hytherian delegate stopped before a window that looked out onto one of the agricultural rings. Vast fields of wheat rotated past, golden in the simulated sunlight, tended by automated systems so sophisticated they could adjust to individual plant needs. You're not just surviving here, the delegate observed, their crystalline voice tinged with something that might have been respect. You're thriving. This isn't a station or an outpost. This is a home. That was always the point, explained Dr. Sarah Martinez, one of New Horizon's chief architects who had joined the tour. The galaxy thought we were struggling to adapt to space, but we weren't adapting, we were evolving, creating a new way of life, one where humanity doesn't just visit the stars but lives among them permanently. They descended to the manufacturing levels, where the delegates witnessed production capabilities that rivaled those of established spacefaring civilizations. Fabrication plants assembled everything from microprocessors to hull plating using techniques that combined Traditional human engineering with innovations born from 50 years of hidden research. How many of these cities have you built? The Vrexian chancellor asked, the question almost fearful. Just this one, Chen answered truthfully. New Horizon is unique. But now that you've seen what we can do, she let the implication hang in the air. If humanity could build one such marvel in secret, what else might they be capable of? The tour concluded in New Horizon's council chamber, a space designed to mirror the Galactic Council's own meeting place, but with a distinctly human touch. Where the Galactic Chamber emphasized vastness and age, New Horizons chamber celebrated potential and growth. Its walls displayed not nebulae but visions of possible futures. More cities among the stars. Humanity spreading not through conquest but through patient construction, building homes in the void that would last for millennia. Ambassador Chen addressed the assembled delegates, her voice carrying the weight of revelation. For 50 years we listened to the galaxy call us children. You mocked our lack of megastructures, our modest fleets, our single inhabited world. And we let you. Because while you were watching Earth, cataloging our limitations, dismissing our potential, we were here, building, learning, becoming what you insisted we could never be. She gestured to the windows, to New Horizons spread out in all its impossible glory. You asked what qualifies us for council membership. Here is our answer. We are a species that understands patience. We are engineers who think in generations, not quarters. We are people who can keep a secret that 3 million souls share without a single leak. We are, in short, exactly the kind of civilization that belongs among the architects of galactic order. The Quarathian high speaker flowed forward, their form stabilizing into something almost solid, a gesture of deep respect in their culture. Ambassador Chen, the Council has witnessed humanity's proof, but I must ask, why reveal New Horizon now? You could have maintained your secrecy indefinitely. You could have built a dozen more cities before we ever discovered the first. Leon's expression grew serious, because secrecy was never the endgame. It was a tool, a strategy to buy us time to mature without interference. But true power, lasting power, doesn't come from hiding. It comes from standing in the light and being recognized for what you truly are. She paused, looking each delegate in the eye. We revealed New Horizon because we're ready to stop being underestimated, ready to contribute to galactic civilization as full partners, ready to show the younger species coming up behind us that patience and ingenuity can overcome any disadvantage. The delegates conferred among themselves, their conversations ranging across multiple communication spectra. Finally, the high speaker spoke for all of them. The delegation is unanimous. Humanity has not only met the requirements for council membership, you have exceeded them in ways that will be studied and debated for generations. The right of proof has been satisfied beyond all possible doubt. The high speaker paused, and something like humor entered their voice. Though I suspect the council will be significantly more careful about underestimating emerging species in the future. You have taught us an invaluable lesson, Ambassador Chen, one we will not forget. Leon bowed slightly. It was a lesson we learned from you, honored speaker. The galaxy showed us that being ignored was a gift, not an insult. We simply made better use of that gift than you expected. Epilogue. A new day. 3 months later, Ambassador Lian Chen stood in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council once more. But this time she did not stand alone on the long approach. This time she stood among the circle of full council members. Earth's seat marked with a holographic display of New Horizon. Rotating slowly above the galaxy's map, the youngest species had become the newest architects of galactic order. In the weeks following the revelation, New Horizon had become the most visited location in known space. Scientists came to study its stealth systems, which had rendered an entire moon-sized city invisible for half a century. Engineers came to understand its fusion plants and closed-loop life support. Diplomats came to learn how 3 million humans had maintained operational security beyond anything the galaxy had thought possible. But most of all, they came because New Horizon represented something the ancient empires had forgotten. The power of patience, the strength of being underestimated, and the quiet triumph of building something magnificent while the galaxy was looking elsewhere. On Earth, celebrations continued for weeks. But on New Horizon itself, life returned to its normal rhythms quickly. Children went to school. Engineers returned to their projects. Farmers tended their crops in the rotating agricultural rings, because for the people who had lived with the secret for so long, the revelation changed nothing about who they were or what they had built. They were humanity's first true children of the stars, people who had never known gravity's tyranny, who had been born in the void, and would die among the endless dark. And they were just the beginning. In a small cafe on New Horizons' residential ring, Dr. Sarah Martinez sat with her team, reviewing plans for their next project. On her datapad, preliminary designs rotated, a city twice New Horizons size incorporating lessons learned from 50 years of hidden operation. Think the council will notice us building this one? One of her engineers joked. Sarah smiled. Oh, they'll notice. But that's the beautiful thing, we don't need to hide anymore. The galaxy knows what we can do. Now they get to watch us do it again. Through the cafe's window, the stars wheeled past in their eternal dance. Somewhere out there, other species were watching humanity. No longer with dismissal or amusement, but with respect and perhaps a touch of fear. They had laughed at the children from Earth. They weren't laughing anymore.